What happens when royalty meets reality? Live on British television. When Prince Harry appeared on Good Morning Britain, he expected friendly questions and polite applause. But a few exchanges in, the mood shifted. What began as a civil chat soon turned into a contest of control, pride, and truth. By the first commercial break, one thing was certain. Even royal titles can't protect you from public scrutiny. It was a crisp London morning. Outside the studio, the city moved in its usual rhythm. Taxis speeding by, commuters clutching coffee cups, headlines flashing across kiosks. Inside, the iconic red sofa sat under bright lights, awaiting another conversation that might either inform or ignite. Host Susanna Reid reviewed her notes with practiced focus. She'd done this countless times, with politicians, actors, activists, and she could sense tension the moment it entered a room. When Prince Harry walked in, she felt it instantly. His handshake was brief, his smile thin, his posture guarded. The studio audience fell quiet. "Your Royal Highness," Susanna began warmly, "thank you for joining us." Harry leaned back. "Pleasure's all yours, I'm sure," he muttered. A flicker crossed her eyes, but her tone stayed professional. "We appreciate your time," she continued. "You've spoken often about your frustrations with the British press. Could you share where that stems from?" Harry tilted his head. "I think it's obvious, isn't it? The press has turned my life and my family's into entertainment. And somehow I'm expected to smile and accept it." Susanna nodded gently. "That must be incredibly hard. Still, many say public attention comes with being a royal. That's a lazy excuse," Harry cut in. "No one deserves to be hunted just because of their name." The air grew taut. Susanna leaned slightly forward. "Of course. But when you share your story through books and interviews, doesn't that also invite some attention?" "So you're blaming me for telling my truth?" He shot back. "Not at all," she said calmly. "I'm asking if openness brings its own kind of scrutiny." Harry smirked. "You journalists are all the same. You hide judgment behind questions." "I assure you there's no judgment, only curiosity," she replied. "My viewers," he corrected sharply. "The ones you feed every morning with gossip." "Our viewers," she said gently, "are thoughtful and capable of forming their own opinions." Harry laughed quietly. "You make it sound noble, but it's really about ratings." "Ratings don't define respect," she said, voice firm now. "And respect goes both ways." For a moment, he seemed caught off guard. "Respect is earned," he said coldly. "Agreed," she replied evenly. "And some of us have spent decades earning it through fairness." He chuckled. "Fairness? You sound just like the rest. Calm and self-righteous." "I prefer prepared," she said with a faint smile. "Prepared to defend the system that made you," he muttered. "Prepared," she replied softly, "to have a respectful conversation with whoever sits across from me." Their tones collided, his with contempt, hers with restraint. "Well," Harry said, leaning back, "let's see if you stay composed when we reach the real questions." "I intend to," she replied. 2 minutes to commercial. The red studio lights glowed, but the temperature between them had dropped to frost. "No ambushes here," Susanna said lightly. "Just conversation, though not always comfortable." "Comfort's overrated," Harry said. "Not on morning TV," she smiled. "But honesty matters more." The applause returned as they came back on air, but the tension didn't fade. The red sofa had become a chessboard, each move deliberate. "Welcome back," Susanna said smoothly. "Prince Harry joins us to discuss his recent comments and his relationship with the media." Turning to him, she continued, "Before the break, you mentioned feeling hunted by the press. Do you think that relationship can ever be rebuilt?" Harry gave a dry laugh. "You can't rebuild what was never based on trust." "Fair point," she said. "Still, some suggest your comments have sounded dismissive toward ordinary people who—" "There it is," he interrupted. "That tone. That hidden moral lesson." "I'm just clarifying," she replied. "You're framing me," he said sharply. "You all pretend to understand, but just want your audience to feel superior." Susanna clasped her hands calmly. "That's not my intent. I'm aiming for balance, not confrontation." "Then stop twisting my words," he snapped. "I'm asking for clarity," she said, voice cooling. "That's my job." "Your job," he mocked. "Pretending to be moral while serving gossip for breakfast." Susanna didn't flinch. Do you really believe that's what journalism is? That's what this show is, he said. You sit there, polished and polite, but you're part of the same machine that tore my family apart. She took a slow breath. I'm sorry you feel that way, but this platform gives everyone a fair chance to speak, including you. Fair? He laughed. You've interrupted me 3 times already. That's not interruption, she said softly. That's engagement. Oh, I love that word, he sneered. Engagement, empathy, buzzwords to cover manipulation. The audience gasped quietly. Prince Harry, she said, keeping calm. I'm sorry if this feels confrontational, but you came here to share your views. That's what I'm trying to facilitate. Maybe try listening for once, he snapped. I am listening, she replied. That's what I do, he smirked. You've built a career on others' pain, including mine. Susanna's composure faltered slightly. With respect, Your Highness, you've chosen to make your life public. Books, interviews, documentaries, you've taken control of your story. And that threatens you, he said sharply. Because now I don't need you to tell it. It doesn't threaten me, she said quietly. It just disappoints me how quickly conversation becomes accusation. Maybe you just don't like being challenged. On the contrary, she said, voice firming. I welcome challenge, just not contempt. A tense silence followed. Contempt is earned, he muttered. So is respect, she replied, the studio stilled. Would you like to continue with your foundation's work? She asked carefully. If you can manage not to twist that too, he said, I'll do my best. Don't bother, he replied. You've already decided my story. If I wanted to frame you, Your Highness, she said coolly, I wouldn't have to lift a finger. The remark landed sharply. Even Harry blinked. Shall we move on to your Veterans Initiative? She asked. Fine, he said. Let's try, she answered with a faint smile that didn't reach her eyes. What followed was technically an interview, but it felt like a duel. The cheerful red sofa now seemed like a battlefield where civility and control fought for survival. I expected a man who could handle a conversation without turning it into a tantrum. That hit hard. Harry's eyes flashed. A tantrum? You think this is a tantrum? I think, Susanna said evenly, you came here looking for a fight. I don't do fights, Harry. I do journalism, the audience murmured quietly. For years, they'd seen her calm, composed, respectful, but now she was drawing a line. Harry stood abruptly. This is absurd, he snapped, motioning toward the cameras. You should be ashamed of yourself. No, Susanna replied coolly. What's shameful is confusing accountability with attack. Her producer's voice buzzed urgently in her earpiece. Cut to break? Not yet, she said firmly. Then, facing Harry, she continued. You're welcome to share your story here, but not to insult this platform or its viewers. You think I need your platform? Harry scoffed. Please. I've spoken to Oprah and Anderson Cooper. This show is nothing compared to them. Then perhaps, Susanna said, her tone finally hardening, you should have gone there instead. Gasps rippled across the studio. Harry froze, angry, humiliated, visibly losing control. The director whispered frantically, Go to commercial, but the damage was already done. Harry's hand trembled as he pointed at her. You'll regret this. Mark my words. Susanna turned calmly to the camera. We'll be right back. The red light blinked off. The broadcast cut to ads, but behind the scenes, everyone knew something irreversible had just happened. And when they returned, the stage would look the same, but the dynamic wouldn't. When the cameras came back on, the tension was thick enough to slice. The Good Morning Britain theme played faintly, but the warmth was gone. What remained was sharp, cold, and unmistakably real. Susanna sat straight, her notes untouched. Across from her, Harry leaned forward, jaw tight, hands gripping his knee to hold back emotion. Her producer whispered, Keep it calm, keep it short. But calm had already left. Welcome back, Susanna began, voice steady but serious. We're continuing our conversation with Prince Harry about the media and public perception. Harry gave a dry smile. Oh yes, continuing because heaven forbid anyone cut short a royal scandal, right? It's not about scandal, she said gently. It's about understanding. That's what journalism is, dialogue. No, he said flatly. It's performance. And you're the star. The polite face of British hypocrisy. The audience stirred. Some crew members winced. Harry, she warned, if you came here to insult rather than discuss, we can end this now. End it? He laughed. How convenient. When things get tough, you shut them down. Classic move. That's called maintaining standards, she replied calmly. Standards, he mocked. A word people use when they're scared of the truth. The truth, she countered, is that this platform gave you every chance to be heard, and you've spent it attacking everyone around you. He folded his arms. Because you don't listen. You already have your headline, The Angry Prince, the Ungrateful Son. No one's writing your story, Harry, she said firmly. You're writing it yourself. The words landed like a gavel. Silence filled the room. You twist everything, Harry muttered. Every word is a trap. There's no trap, she said softly. Only accountability, and you clearly don't like it. I don't need accountability from you, he snarled. Yet you came here, she said, her tone like glass, which requires respect, something that disappears the moment a question challenges you. Don't patronize me, he shot back. I'm not, she replied. I'm reminding you how conversations work, he scoffed. You really think you're clever? The calm journalist versus the angry prince. Congratulations, your viewers will love it, her voice sharpened. My viewers appreciate honesty, not theatrics, Harry stood. This is what you wanted, a viral moment, a headline to replay tomorrow. You're doing that yourself, Harry, she said quietly. No one asked you to be disrespectful. I'm being real, he snapped. Real doesn't mean rude, she replied. It means having control while being honest. Something you're losing. You'll never get it, he said, pointing at her. You're part of the system that destroyed my family. Stop, Susanna said firmly. Her voice, calm but authoritative, froze him mid-sentence. This isn't therapy. You came here to talk about your work. Instead, you've chosen to accuse and insult. I've hosted this program for years and never seen this level of disrespect. The silence was absolute. You're kicking me out? He asked, incredulous. I'm asking you, she replied, to continue with respect or leave. He stared, disbelief turning to fury. Do you know who I am? Yes, she said evenly. You're a guest on my show, and right now you're out of line. That broke him. Unbelievable, he muttered. You'll regret this. No, she said quietly. I won't. No one moved. Then Harry tore off his mic, the sound echoing through the silent room. Good luck with your standards, he sneered and stormed off set. The door slammed behind him. Susanna exhaled slowly, regaining her composure. Then she turned to the camera with a faint smile. Well, that was unexpected. We'll take a short break and be back with something calmer. The audience clapped, half awkward, half admiring. As the red light went dark, the crew whispered in disbelief. He really walked out? Someone muttered. Susanna nodded quietly. Just another morning in television, she said. But everyone knew it wasn't. It was the morning Good Morning Britain made history, the day a prince stormed off and a journalist refused to bow. By noon, clips had gone viral. Viewers flooded social media with praise for Susanna's poise. Some called it the royal unraveling, others the calm before the clapback. But Susanna didn't dwell. The next day she was back on the same sofa, same smile, same calm. Because real class doesn't come from a crown, it comes from composure.